Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of HardFoul. Yeah, we're doing the afternoon today. I got my schedule a little different, so it's kind of nice not having to wake up at 3 a.m. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. We got the 4th of July coming up tomorrow. That'll be fun. Everyone's got an excuse to get drunk. I mean, I'll drink any day, but 4th of July makes me fit in with the normal people of society. So let's see. So we got to talk about today. We got the All-Star game. We have some Kobe Bryant news and a story that I'm going to try to break here first. It's kind of hard, but you'll understand once you hear it. Once again, like always, you guys, however you're listening, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, go check me out. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. Been tweeting more. Yeah, let's get right into it. So, with anything in life, generally most things make sense. It sounds kind of weird because most people are opinionated and don't want to think something makes sense. But for the most part, things find a way to make sense, right? Take not necessarily this last one, but you take presidential elections. Even if you don't like the person that's running or the person that gets voted in, it makes sense. There's a system in place, there's a process that happens, and then there's a winner elected. Right? Decently practical. Obviously, you get in X factors and other things that people don't care for, but the process itself makes sense. You know something that didn't make sense to me as of probably until 4 or 5 days ago? Was the whole Phil Jackson scenario. I get really confused on this because, I always believe when you make it to a certain level in life, a certain level in success, I just don't believe you can do it being a dummy. Take our current president. The one thing I defended is I just don't think he's a dummy. He's done too much in his life for me to think he is a stupid individual. There's other things you can say about him, but I'm just not willing to believe that he's stupid or a dummy. Phil Jackson is an 11-time champion. You can make a case he's the greatest coach of all time, but he's definitely, you have to at least put him in one of the top three with him, Red Auerbach, and Pat Riley. That's just undeniable. So how does he go to New York? And I'm not sure of all the finer nuances of being a general manager or an executive, all the little things you have to do. I just simply don't know those things. I'm not going to act like I know those things. But I know to some degree there's common sense in those things. This is why even as a fan, you can look at a player and be like, okay, I know he can play or I know he's a scrub. There's, you can break it down and go, it's like, okay, well, he shoots free throws really well, or, oh, he does this better than that. But for the most part, you can break it down. It's like he can play or he can't play. That's basic talent scouting at its finest. Okay? Take Phil Jackson. He's seen a lot of guys that can play. He got to coach these guys, what were their names again? That's right, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Kobe Bryant, Shaq. Yeah, he's coached a few guys that could play. So what would be behind the reason for Phil Jackson doing the things he did? Because some of the things he did just didn't make sense. And I had a hard time figuring that out. Well, what's been the two biggest stories the last 6 months in the NBA? The Warriors and Cavs meeting again, and is it bad for the NBA? And we have this upstart rookie who's going into LA, whose dad, most people think, talks way too much. What if you take Phil Jackson, who just got released or just got fired on, it was last Thursday? Apologize, I think it was Friday. What if that's his way of going back to LA to pair up with this new young upstart rookie who most people who have already basically declared as a superstar? Think about it for a second. Your little thought exercise. Phil Jackson, if you like him or not, he's worked with a bunch of star players. So if anything, he's got the attention of a star player. I remember hearing a story, Pau Gasol a few years back when he was with the Lakers, and Pau did something he wasn't supposed to in practice, and Phil started yelling. And Phil's not a yeller. He's the Zen man. Yeah, get your green plants and be free and happy. And Pau just sat there and let him yell at him. And his thing was, well, who am I to talk back? Like, I'm a good player. I'm an all-star player. But this guy's yelled at Michael Jordan. This guy's yelled at Kobe Bryant. This guy's yelled at Shaquille O'Neal, Scottie Pippen. Like, who am I to really yell, or who am I to really say that this guy is wrong? You think Luke Walton's going to have that same kind of impact on Lonzo Ball? If he really needs to sit there and teach him or tell him, it's like, hey, you're not doing this right, or you're just doing this wrong, who's more impactful? Phil Jackson, Luke Walton. Why does Phil Jackson, a guy who's supposed to be zenned out, supposed to be more or less like just a hippie, why does he still have a house in LA? I'm in California. There is a few wide spots in the road, but they are far fewer than if you want to be in the Midwest and even on the East Coast. You don't have a home in LA if you're trying to be away from everybody in your zen and, peace with the earth type of deal. You just don't do it. The perception of him in LA to him in New York. Ask people in New York, Phil Jackson's, he's worthless, he's useless. They don't even think he could spell his own name right anymore. Ask him in LA, he's still revered. Phil Jackson to the Lakers not only makes sense, but it just needs to happen. Think about this. You take a guy who what was the reason he left? Well, the Lakers want to let him do his coaching on the road thing, right? Like, he's like, okay, well, I'll come back, but I can only coach 40, 50 games, and I'm only going to coach some road games and then all home games. Lakers were like, no, we're not going to do that. Why'd they do that? Well, when they did it, they were speaking from a position of power. The Lakers were still coming off of 2 out of 4 titles. Still had Kobe before he twisted his leg and basically ended his career. Had Pau Gasol. Like, they had a position of like, hey, we can get someone else in here and they can coach this team up. And then they brought Mike D'Antoni in and they just figured out, well, that was just the wrong move. And now I'm throwing my pen. Phil Jackson going there now, a team that's on 4 straight years of being hot garbage. The only good thing they've done the past 4 years was Kobe's goodbye game. Oh, Phil's got all the power he wants. He's got all the leverage in this situation. And think about it. You bring Phil Jackson in, you give him Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, LeBron James if he's going there in 2018. You give that man superstars with his credential and his pedigree. Laker fans, I'm telling you, Phil Jackson to the Lakers 2018. Get it out there, get the word out there, spread the story. I was talking with one of my friends, and we were talking about the All-Star game, and we were talking about guys that we thought should have made it, guys that we think were probably going to get snubbed, because we've always looked at it as you should. It's basically a popularity contest, right? Like, that's just what it is. Who's the most popular player on the better teams? Yes, you have to play well, I think. But it's a popularity vote. Think of the Royals. The Royals had 4 or 5 guys having good seasons, and they had 7 of the 9 starting all-star positions 2 years ago. I think the only positions that they didn't have were Trout was still starting in center field, and I think Miguel Cabrera was just holding off Eric Hosmer at first base. Otherwise, they had every other position. I mean, Omar Infante was almost an all-star 2 years ago. Most of you that are listening probably don't even know who Omar Infante is. And if you do, it's because you just Googled him because you heard me say his name. This year, though, we were talking about it, and we were having some fun conversations. Like, is Mike Trout going to be able to get in even though he's been hurt? Obviously, you thought guys like Harper were going to make it. We were both on the Ryan Zimmerman bandwagon. I know there's a lot of people that are mad that Paul Goldschmidt didn't make it or quote-unquote got snubbed, but go look at Ryan Zimmerman's numbers and tell me he's not the best. He's not playing the best of any first baseman in the National League. If you can show me that, and you think so, then, well, you're probably just not in your right mind. Cool thing about this year is this is one of the first times I can say the All-Star Game was not a popularity vote. Think about this. I want you guys to look at the American League All-Star lineup, and I want you to tell me what about that you think is popularity. Go. I'm gonna give you guys about 10 seconds. Really think about this right now. Who do you think really made it off popularity? So, had your time. The only guys you can make a legit case for said they won off popularity is
king size sounds great.
Oh.
And I can check in.
Well, there we go. Now you guys got a new little commercial to add here. So, what do you ads? Yeah. Our only guy you can make a case is popularity is Mike Trout. But Mike Trout's so great in every other category. Him being popular is not only deserved, expected. I'm going to read down this list real quick here. Salvador Perez, Justin Smoke, Jose Altuve, Jose Ramirez, Carlos Correa, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, George Springer, Corey Dickerson. I want you to look at me straight in the face and tell me who of that won via popularity. Because I'd be willing to bet most of you guys don't even know who Corey Dickerson is. You probably barely know who the Tampa Bay Rays are. Jose Ramirez, I'm not going to lie, that one threw me off. I was shocked when I saw him starting at third base. And Justin Smoke. Now, you can tell in terms of pure votes, not a whole lot of people did know who they were. Jose Ramirez got 1.9 million votes. Corey Dickerson got 1.7. George Springer got 2.2. Those are the three lowest vote totals of all of the AL All-Star starters. Then for reserves, Yonder Alonso, Jonathan Scoop, I'm probably saying that incorrectly. Like, think about this. And this actually was, I was reading a couple articles. You take a guy like Corey Dickerson, who, let me spin this off actually in a better direction. This is proof that there is a moving away from paper ballots, moving into electronic voting, giving fans of basically every team a say, not just, hey, I'm going to go put in my vote in the UPS box, is working. Corey Dickerson, stat for stat, is the best DH in baseball right now. But most people would have, popularity-wise, voted for Nelson Cruz or given the spot to a first baseman who they'd say, okay, you can just let him DH. How many people, raise your hand, knew who Jose Ramirez is before I just said he was before you found out last night he was a starting third baseman for the AL All-Star team. Really think about that one for a second. The only superstar on this entire team, Trout, Correa. I'll give Altuve. Altuve's earned superstar credit, and it shows once again in their vote totals. Jose Altuve got 3.8. Mike Trout got 3.2. Aaron Judge, I'm not going to call him a superstar, even though yes, he had every right to be the starting right fielder and he led the American League in votes because he's leading the American League in home runs, RBIs, and he's like third in batting average. Like the man's he's a beast. If you're a fan of small market teams, if you're a fan of just seeing the best players out there, not just seeing Derek Jeter get every single time because he's a Yankee, this is your All-Star game. Guys who aren't well known, but are simply playing the best out of anyone. All right, last thing I want to talk about. So, and this is just a personal side note thing. So, I remember listening to the radio and different sports shows about a year and a month ago now, or a year and 2 months out. It was Kobe Bryant's last game. And one of the comments that stuck with me is not just is Kobe retiring tonight, but an era is retiring tonight. Excuse me. Kobe Bryant is what... Excuse me again. Kobe Bryant is one of the most intense, aggressive, almost homicidal competitive athletes we've probably ever seen in American sports. Don't you think it's kind of a coincidence that the year after Kobe retired, he's only been gone for 1 year, mind you, and this was dubbed one of the most boring NBA seasons of all time? This was considered to be one of the most foregone cliche, oh, the Warriors are going to do it, whatever, you don't even have to watch the games. Yet people would say dominance was bad for Jordan when he won 6 titles, for Kobe when he got 5 titles. Let me tell you the difference in why Kobe and Jordan are, people don't want to admit it, they are the 9-to-5 worker. They're the guy you look at and you're like, despite them being supremely talented, they put their hard hat on, they bring their lunchbox to work. It's not their problem. They packed an extra sandwich every day, or they have a couple extra tools than everybody. But they worked so hard, were so competitive, were so intense, were so fun to watch. You couldn't help but appreciate it. Who cares if they won 11 titles? And they just drowned out a bunch of other guys who would have been superstars. The effect Kobe Bryant had on the NBA and Jordan before him will never be seen again. No two players have that kind of even overall fame. I got friends that don't even watch sports, couldn't name you 3 guys that play in the NFL, but they could name you Kobe Bryant. They could name Michael Jordan. The names and the brands are just that big, which is why they were great for the NBA. That's why the NBA was allowed to play off its stars. Why are all these guys getting so much more money than they deserve? Because stars make the league. The league gets to profit off these stars. And don't think for a second, by the way, that I'm going to go into it on Wednesday, the whole financial thing in the NBA. Even though some of these guys are getting overpaid, even the guys that are getting, Kyle Lowry got 3 years for $100 million. If you think his owner's not getting $200 to $300 million just off him being on the team, the owners aren't getting screwed here. They're getting their more than fair share in return. But that I'm going to talk about on Wednesday, the financial part of the NBA. the Jordan era, the Kobe era will stand alone in being revered as some of the greatest parts of basketball. Even Magic and Bird. If you want to take Magic, Bird, Jordan, Kobe, those are the last basically 60 years of the league. And they were the league's highest point. You get to this year, and the only part of the league that was record-setting was the finals. And the finals are always going to be record-setting. Like, you could have, unless you're the Spurs, who literally just bored their way to 5 championships, the finals are always exciting. People always tune in to watch it. It's like the Super Bowl. I mean, the Bears and Colts broke TV records, and the Bears started Rex Grossman. Be real with yourself. The Kobe Bryant era will not be reseen, will not be duplicated, and we're heading in for, because of just, I kind of liked the nasty aspect of Kobe was the F you, get out of my way, the I'm not trying to be your friend. When we're on the court, it's, me against you, we're going to war. LeBron doesn't do that. Steph Curry does. LeBron's out there a week after 2 weeks after getting whooped in the finals talking about why is Steph Curry getting paid $400 million. Kobe would never care what you made. He'd want it to be the highest paid player. He'd be pissed that he doesn't have a $200 million deal. Jordan and Kobe, homicidal competitors, made the sport more entertaining, made it more, kind of in a confusing way, made it more of a fluid type of sport. It was their tenacity, aggression, just overall composure, demeanor is what made the sport great. Basketball is one of the few one-on-one sports. I get it. It's a team sport. But at the same time, what are the greatest highlights and greatest memories? It's Jordan going one-on-one. It's Kobe going one-on-one. It's Magic, Bird going one-on-one. LeBron doesn't play one-on-one. Steph Curry doesn't play one-on-one. These guys aren't one-on-one type killers who can embrace the league like those two did. NBA hit all-time popularity rankings when it endorsed its stars and said, we're going to be, the NFL has the shield, baseball has its history, the NBA has its stars. That formula would not work with today's players. Once again, you guys, thank you for all the support. We went up. I think I got 6 more subscribers over the weekend. That was really cool. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate just the willing to give even giving my videos just even a couple minutes of your time. Super appreciative of. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, HardFoul Podcast. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. And I got some cool news coming out Tuesday.